Next up, we have Gacha Games Are Terrible, and Here's Why You Should Play Them by CipherRei. One, I'm probably mispronouncing that name because it's me, and that's just going to be the case. Now, whether I mean the name of the channel or the name of the video, chances are it's both. It's definitely both. It is definitely both. We're going to jump into it. I saw the first half where they went into some actually really interesting details about how Gacha came to be entirely in history and why Konami is not the only company responsible, but we should still blame them because it's a lot of their fault regardless. So all the times you said, God dang it, Konami, you're right for more reasons than you know. Maybe that's just me, but I'm going to assume at least one other person here is doing that. Also, I did not leave a like yet. Oh, that's embarrassing. We're going to jump right into it now. And if you haven't left a like I did, it's going to be a good video. Even I know that already. Let's check it out.
They released a game that made an unexpected change within the industry.
Moving on to Genshin.
A game so well known that it became a household
MiHoYo
name.
moving into
a
Genshin,
game
yeah.
That made me do a triple take because I saw a family of 3 in a pizza restaurant with their daughter cosplaying as Farina. Just what the hell is Genshin Impact?
Oh, this is not just when he started playing. He means now. Wait, Farina technically is old now, isn't she? Oh.
It's Genshin Impact.
Yeah.
Fuck!
I mean, Genshin Impact, when it came out, was so good. And I enjoyed just walking around, solving puzzles, random fights. It was like, oh, cool, new characters. That's neat. I got that one for free because it's brand new. Hey, cool. Still cheaper than Fake Red Order. That is a big part of why I like that game. When it came out, yeah, that was 5 years ago now. It did not keep up. Luna 2 Moon. Ooh. The points are how you active you are in the chat. Oh, for anyone wondering, there's a top fans in the chat, and apparently activity gives you points. Neat.
Gacha games before this was a very niche thing. People would disregard it as low-effort, money-hungry type games that would...
And a lot of them were. Like, I'd bring up Fake Red Order because it was one that actually had a very well thought out story. Sometimes I'm looking at you, Agartha. I give Rome more credit than Agartha. If you know what I mean, you understand exactly what I just said, and I am so sorry for that. I apologize. I should not have brought it up. That is trauma I should not have reminded you of. That's on me.
Shamelessly manipulate you into giving up your wallet. And by no means those accusations are untrue. That is still being perceived today in modern Gacha games because, let's be honest, it's still an issue. Regardless of what other people might think, MiHoYo managed to make Gacha games into mainstream media, for better or for worse.
They put it on PC and they put it on console. That's what it was. It looked generic enough, shiny enough, and you could play it for free. It was on console and it was on PC. Because let's be honest, this is not a mobile game. It has a mobile port. You should not play it on mobile. That is an act of masochism.
Genshin Impact was amazing. It was essentially an untapped market. Ever since the release of Breath of the Wild, people have been asking, hoping.
And also because Breath of the Wild doesn't have such huge, dynamic, super hyper-realistic details, you could get away with a more cartoony style, so people were already primed for it. So the timing of that was perfect, because when you finish Breath of the Wild, it's like, okay, I want something that's basically this game, but different. Genshin, this game, but different.
Wishing for an anime-like open-world game.
Also, the initial design before walls lost all value was kind of amazing because you had the boxes to walk around. There was events you could explore. There was little things everywhere, and you got a nice, relaxing place to explore when you were stuck inside, because this came out during COVID and you could not actually see grass, let alone be outside to touch it or move around. So it's like, okay, it's like real life simulator, because everyone would like to believe real life simulator actually involves you being able to do anything like walking for more than 5 minutes without losing your breath. Oh wait, that game did this too. Never mind, it's perfectly accurate.
And it isn't really a surprise that Genshin Impact was deeply inspired by Legend of Zelda's Breath of the Wild. People were attracted to it. It was what people were asking for. It was what people were hoping for. And it was what people were wishing for. MiHoYo caught lightning in a bottle. A feat so impossible that it elevated them into the mega corporation that they are known today. HoYoverse. Genshin Impact was the first gacha game for a lot of new players. It was their first exposure to the gacha market, and because of not knowing any better, money started to flow.
Yeah. I heard the money people put on this, man, and like I came from a lot more gacha games. Again, Fate. This is never spent as much on this as I did on some Fate characters. Massive financial problems on that one, but still managed to keep head above water. But there's a lot of people who went into this and they just decide, hey, I got a paycheck. Why don't I spend the next 5 of them as well? Yeah. And I'm not just talking about the entire Tectone spear drama, because that was a lot of money, man. Also, people are wondering why I mentioned Genshin has hyper-realistic detail. I mean, actually, when you have it on high-end PCs at the time for 5 years ago, it did look a lot better than mobile. But in general, it's more cartoon, cel-shaded, low detail, but high contrast was more acceptable because people were looking at something like Breath of the Wild, which was running on 720p on a mobile screen, because Switch Mobile especially just didn't do higher than that until this year. It still looks good as long as you have the right stylistic reason to go with it. It's just we've seen that style for so long now, and we've seen other games that are way more detailed for roughly the same type. So it's kind of worn thin.
$245 million was the estimated amount that Genshin made in its first month, overtaking the monster at the time that was Fate Grand Order.
Fate was actually at the top? It's been so long, I actually didn't realize that.
Was absurd.
Makes sense, though.
Even though Genshin's pity system wasn't as harsh as FGO's was,
I mean, that's still accurate. When they finally input a pity system, Genshin going to failure is still cheaper. I think Fate, I heard, was like 300 pulls. Yeah, Genshin is cheaper by almost half.
I think that was an unfair comparison.
Yeah, 330 pulls. I'm sorry, I was still too easy. Oh God, that is... Yeah, there's a reason. I was like, okay, $100 if I don't get it, I'm not touching more. And there's characters I will skip because it's the only way you play that game. And even then, you just can't free to play that. You just choose who you don't want.
It still was a system that generally capitalizes on obtaining duplicates of characters and weapons. Although it wasn't really necessary to obtain duplicates, people
I mean, also, if you got certain 4 stars, you could basically play the game till now.
who had some disposable income still spent a hefty amount on the game. Now, of course, like every other gacha game company out there, Genshin wasn't free of drama. A lot of events happened during Genshin's first few years that sparked a lot of hate for both the game and the community. MiHoYo still managed to weather out these issues because honestly, despite its flaws, Genshin is a good game. And
Ooh, Moon God. Can we player 219 today? Moon, I still don't know what that is. I know you've mentioned it many times. I just don't know what that is. I think you might have mentioned it, but I was not watching when you did that. Also, Matthew Dutcher. Wait, Matthew, you mentioned, yeah, I got a young family member that spent $400 of your mom's credit card on Genshin Impact. Okay, to give comparison, $100 maybe every 2 months. That's a lot, but you can deal with that. $400 for a single character? I feel bad about spending that, and I've done it twice that I can think about, and I should not have 3 times in the last decade. Oh, that is a lot, man. I don't have kids either, so that's a lot easier on me than probably on a kid whose parents have, by default, a kid.
And people were willing to forgive their hiccups so long as they offered a better experience and kept improving for everyone's enjoyment, which to this day stayed true because Genshin has improved since. Due to Genshin's influence, gacha companies then strived.
Wait, AAA gacha game references. Semi-open world? Final Fantasy VII Remake? Oh yeah, Tower Defense, Factorio, Death Stranding? Wait, I'm pretty sure that's the new Arknights Enfield. Death Stranding is an influence on it. Tower Defense makes sense, yeah. And Nier, okay, that one I kind of knew. Nier played into Punishing Gray Raven, yeah. Honkai Impact directly into Punishing Gray Raven, yeah. Directly into other Hoyoverse, directing to other Hoyoverse. Open World, Zelda, Genshin, Spider-Man GTA? Oh yeah, Woo and other things I don't know what these 3 are. I think that might be Neverness, but And same thing according to Hoyo content creator. Genshin, everything else. Yeah. I mean, yeah, that kind of makes sense. Just because it's actually the big difference here is less that Genshin leads to everything and more they're discounting the previous games, which had a bigger influence, which is Honkai leading into ZZZ. That I'm not. Oh, it's probably because of the modular areas where you have scripted fights. Well, not scripted, but like set fights. That makes more sense. Still worried about the Death Stranding part, though.
To attain the same formula. Although some of them have not been as successful as Genshin was, it still managed to improve.
What game was that?
Although some of them have not
I don't know this one.
been as successful as Genshin was, it
Huh.
still managed to improve the overall quality
Camellia?
of these games,
Woo-woo.
bettering player experience and keeping retention. Meanwhile, in the heart of Japan, instead of opting for a much
Uma.
more diverse and sustainable revenue like Genshin has, Cygames has managed to push the Japanese market to its limits by releasing
How long did this come out? 2 months? Oh, this might have been right before this game hit live for everyone.
a game called Uma Musume.
Yeah,
Pretty
now
good.
it's pushing global
Now
to the
we're gonna
limits.
talk about the funny horse game.
I don't get it.
Uma Musume Pretty Derby is a very huge gacha game franchise in Japan, almost if not as huge as FGO is. In fact, at some point in time, Uma Musume overtook Genshin in its #1 spot of revenue for
Oh!
a week, and it's only
Still,
been
I didn't
released in
realize, although it makes a lot more
Japan at
sense.
the time. Now, Uma Musume is a recreation of the horse race gambling culture in Japan, where most
Which is surprising considering horse race gambling culture in America is also huge. Although I think it's not nearly as dedicated as it is Japan, for all I
the
know.
characters are based off of real-life horses. I'm seriously not joking about this. They're horse girl idols. I can't.
Yeah. Gambling and idols. No wonder it kind of actually fit perfectly with literally everyone who gets the game and can understand it. And Valerian, you don't get the game too? Honestly, I don't, but I watched an explanation of the series, and frankly, some of the animes actually look really hype because I had seen stills from them without realizing it was a freaking horse girl racing game. I thought it was like some epic shonen battle anime that just went heavy on the art before realizing, oh, this is a racehorse. Kind of a shock. Might actually check them out because of that.
Anyways, Cygames also made an anime of this game, but
A lot of
were
animes,
supposed to
apparently.
release together. Uma Musume at its core
A
was
lot
a
of anime.
wife collector paired with horse racing. It's the merging of both worlds that gets me. JPEG gambling
just
and
don't
money
get
gambling
it, though.
combined together.
Slowly dying?
One.
Horse.
Despite the fact that I genuinely cannot control my laughter at this ridiculousness, I'll try to keep a straight face for you guys. A large portion of Japan does like this game, since at this point in time, gacha games and horse racing has been ingrained deep into their culture. Although people outside of Japan tend to be confused as to why this franchise is so well loved, it
That changed. That changed so much by getting a translation you could actually understand. Who would have thought that would do it?
has made its waves across the western part of the world, and a lot of people in those countries like it as well. And currently, during the making of this video, Cygames has already announced that Uma Musume will be released.
This is right before the wave hit, yeah.
Now, on a related note, red light districts such as Kabukicho, pachinko parlors, and even food stalls during Tanabata Matsuri, aka the Summer Star Festival, is owned by a notorious group that at this point everyone knows exists. Despite their extreme attempts at
I wonder what group referencing the Yakuza game franchise would possibly be involved. Or how they intentionally try to not sexualize their game of wife collecting. I mean, horse girl collecting. And if that sounds weird to you, yeah. The game referencing the Yakuza games, the group referencing the Yakuza games decided that the internet was too degenerate.
steering clear of public attention. The Yakuza is a group of organized crime syndicates that are operating in the shadiest parts of Japan. Now, I know what you might be
Also, just to point out, saying that they operate in the shadiest parts is not entirely accurate. They have magazines, they advertise, they're publicly available buildings that are completely legal, but also the police know who are there, the locals know who are there. It's kind of more like an open secret that you just kind of don't mention sometimes. Also, the magazine thing is not a joke. There's actual articles and people writing specifically Yakuza-based magazines, kind of like you would for sports teams. I don't get it either. I thought that was a joke, and then you can find them. That style of Yakuza, I think, has died a lot down recently. So the more what you think of a mafia is coming in as opposed to the traditional face of it. But the fact that it existed at all is kind of shocking to me.
Thinking. Cypher, why are you talking about the Yakuza in a topic about the history of gacha games? Okay, listen to me.
Are you saying gambling is related to
Casinos and betting
Yakuza?
stages are mainly owned by the Yakuza, right? Now, who do you think owns the horse race gambling sphere? It's the Yakuza. It's them. Now, doujin culture in Japan is very huge as well. If something exists, there's not safe for work artwork of it. Now, Cygames has explicitly stated not to make harmful representations of the game's characters and the real-life horses that they are based from. Problem is that the Streisand effect comes into play.
Yeah.
The more you'll tell people...
For anyone who doesn't know the Streisand effect, the fact that I have just mentioned, and he has just mentioned, I make a point to pause to say it, is literally an example of the Streisand effect.
No, the more they'll just do it. Because of the hundreds of doujins being made of the game, the artists were now in deep trouble, being sent Yakuza to their houses with lots of those artists formally apologizing on their social media accounts, with even some of them deactivating. It was a...
It only works if you're in Japan, though, because flying internationally to make someone not draw smut is not exactly good business.
Very peculiar situation back then, with only people outside of Japan being able to openly discuss the ongoing Yakuza censorship. Despite the horse racers having Yakuza ties, Musume still remained to be a very beloved franchise, with the anime kicking off with 3 seasons, a movie just this year, and a possible 4th season. Although...
I have no idea how predatory this game is, but considering some of the competition they have, this might end up being one of the cases where the Yakuza are less money hungry than standard corporations. And if that sounds like the most cyberpunk thing I could say right now, you're also playing that game way more than you have any right to, and I'm not the only one doing that. And I'm just going to hold to that because I'm not addicted. I haven't lost sleep because I wanted to just grind a few more levels and see what I can get in like a random mission. I can stop whenever I want. It's fine.
Not confirmed yet. But all of this just goes to show just how huge the waves MiHoYo and Cygames made throughout the years, and how big the gacha market has become because of them, with games like Genshin and Grand Blue being the monstrous franchises that they have become today. Speaking
that must be one of the fan animations, because actual Genshin animations never look that good.
Of big franchises, it would be disingenuous of me not to talk about the other 2 large elephants in
Arknights
the room,
and
that being...
elephants?
No, those are literal elephants. Come on, the other ones. No, not these 2.
Oh, Ship Girl Game, Azure Lane, and Nikke. Heard Nikke's run into some issues, but not really much on that.
Although Nikke has a good story, it's not them.
Yeah, I remember playing Nikke. It was like, oh, Gunnar game. Oh, this is actually a good story with good animation and voice acting? Why am I not... Oh, because I still can't stand the actual combat. Yeah, that's actually the most disappointing part about it. Everything about that game is literally awesome, except for the combat, which I got so bored of so fast.
There we go. Yeah. Fate Grand Order and Arknights. So, Fate...
Gonna be completely honest, calling Arknights a game is disingenuous. It's an excuse to have a studio making music. That's really what it is. And honestly, that's not bad. I still listen to their music even though I don't play the game anymore.
Grand Order has been in the industry for a long time now, and was released just a year
Oh, the movies, I
after
haven't seen
Grand Blue
those.
Fantasy. Lesengal, or formerly known as The Lightworks, made a gacha game based off
They
of
changed their
Type
name.
Moon's Fate Stay Night franchise. The thing is, because Fate Stay Night was a beloved franchise in Japan, the game, of course, like every other huge gacha game out there, was not free of scandal. But they...
Yeah. I'd like to point out, though, and this is the funniest thing ever, and I will bring it up every time I can. Fate Grand Order. It's well known for a lot of fan service. It is technically safe for work because they never drop into anything that technically would get them a higher age rating. But it looks like it should be very much an adult-only game. And then there's the original Fate Stay Night, which looks like it should be a traditional safe work game you could give a kid if they're okay with visual novels. Except it was explicitly made for adults, and only adults should engage with that one because it is very much an arrow game. And if you know what that is, I still find that amusing too.
Never really got any unwarranted attention because most of the controversies were mildly annoying at best and scummy at worst. For example, in the Korean server of FGO, lots of KR players quit because they had their summon rates artificially lowered without prior notice.
Okay, no, that actually sounds illegal. Like, if the rates are changed, I don't know how the Korean laws work. I know China, oddly enough, is very advantageous when it comes to consumer rights on Gacha. And yes, that sounds weird when I say that out loud too. And you could probably put a lawsuit in America, but that's more just because you can sue anything in America. But that seems like it could actually be literally taking them to court worthy.
Leading to the KR server losing the Solomon raids and it being memed by the other servers for being a pruned timeline in which Goetia won and every other event and story that was released was just Guda's dying dream.
Yeah.
I'm getting off topic here. Look, the point is, the only reason why FGO weathered through these...
Also, for anyone who didn't play Fate Grand Order, at the end of the first season, which is probably where I think the story peaked before it dropped off a cliff and then got better later on, you had a time fight where they were calculating the damage for every single person on the server and then added up to the full total. So you were trying to contribute as much as you can. And there's some things like, oh, they might have given a little more damage here. They might have helped out here, is what we said up until Korean came up and they just failed. They didn't do enough damage to beat the boss, which is surprising considering Korean gaming culture and the rest of global. Usually the Korean gaming culture is way more adept at dumping out huge numbers than the entirety of global. And this was not the case this time around. Proving, yeah, people can fail, which we did not know. And it was actually kind of funny.
Dramas and issues is because the player base loved the Fate Stay Night franchise, and the Lightworks getting their shit together to improve the game. Despite all of that, FGO is still being recognized for its incredibly atrocious and horrendous gacha raids. But to this day, it is still...
Calling them gacha raids is less accurate. It's more... If I had got into any other gacha game beforehand, my wallet would be a lot fatter right now.
One of the biggest gacha games in Japan, just alongside Musume. Now, speaking of recognition, Arknights is a really popular game that I always see at least 2 to 3 ads of it per day while watching stuff on YouTube.
Oh, I've actually never even seen that.
VTubers popping up in my timeline every now and then due to how popular the game is.
Really? I mean, other than Frostbite, I didn't know anyone actually made content for Arknights at all. I think the game's generally fun. I more or less just play the roguelike modes because it's actually a very nice roguelike mode that's completely free to play if you have the characters. And if you don't, there's a bunch of trial ones that you can just get for free anyways, and it's kind of nice. Also, I like tower defense games in general, so it's kind of up my alley. Didn't realize it was popular, though.
And that's no surprise either. I am currently playing Arknights right now after holding off from playing it for a long time now. Yeah. And after a good friend
this is the roguelike mode.
Me to play it. And I'm honestly enjoying it so far. It's really, really good. On a surface level of understanding, Arknights is a tower defense game where the main objective is defending against attackers and not letting them go through your towers. Combined with a base building system similar to games like Fallout Shelter, which honestly fits the theme that they have going for its story.
Dude, I actually remember this storyline. It's old at this point. Ooh, and the real McCoy. You mentioned, unlike FGO in Nikkei, the Commander Yu has actually slept with a few of your waifus. Aren't they robots who weigh like literal hundreds of pounds to tons? How strong is the commander in that game? Holy shit.
Arknights has been recognized a lot by its really dark and gritty story as well.
Yeah, also for anyone wondering, Punishing Grey Raven is probably one of the most depressing stories I can imagine. But when you find out what's really going on in Arknights, and eventually it does come up, you're not a faceless character, you have a character, he has a backstory, and I'm going to spoil something, so if anyone doesn't know what this spoiler is, it's probably one of the reasons I still respect this game, even if I don't play it right now. It's your fault. All of the fucked up shit is because you are an asshole and you fucked up intentionally. It was not a mistake. You're the problem. So yeah, that's actually the spoiler. It's one of the reasons I do like the game. You're fixing your mistakes. You're not allowing yourself to remember because you were kind of the reason it happened.
As the notorious wall of text accompanying it, not to mention
The downside being the writing is like the wall of text. That's generous. I've been told that in its original Chinese and sometimes the Japanese translations, it's much more concise, but in English, it is not concise. It is everyone is writing Tolstoy. Everyone, no matter how uneducated or completely out of it, without any idea how to understand the world, is writing a novel with prose that could rival someone who has been in college so long they don't realize, indubitably, is not a common word anymore. Yeah, the summary function is actually useful. Ooh, Moon Guy, you sent a gifted membership. Thank you very much, man.
the music. Like, what the fuck? Every time I go search up anything Arknights related, people will always either talk about the story or the music.
Also, he's not wrong about this. The music is amazing. The story has issues, but it's generally good. The music is always good. They're a music company that has a game.
It is just really, really fucking good. My personal favorite jams being Boiling Blood, Operation Pine Suit,
Don't know
Double
that one.
Dragons, and Lullaby. And I was
Lullaby, really? Huh. I'm more personal to some of the old OSTs that just go hard because they're more rock-based.
listening to their music even before I played Arknights. So when I played the game, I was surprised that the thing accompanying the music was even more exciting.
Dude, I remember this. I dropped the game, lost my account, restarted Near Light, where that character just came from, and the music playing in the background was so hype. Dude. I might actually just reinstall the game just to do the roguelike with these characters again. They're not even that good. I just like them. Like I said, this is a music company that has gacha funding. Also, while this is a trailer for an event, you can actually watch it in-game, which is something so many games do not do, and it bugs me. Because I never think to watch trailers for games on YouTube, so I don't know about them. This one at least lets you see it.
I mean, both Arknights and FGO just have amazing animations and previews. Like, damn, this is what my money is getting poured into, and honestly, I love it. I don't like my wallet getting emptied.
Yeah, there's a reason I don't put money into this game anymore. Mostly because I don't play it. But even then, it's not unusual to get 3 or 2 big characters on a single pull. And then go for max pity without getting one because, oh god.
Though because of the gacha, so yeah. Nowadays, modern gacha games try to keep up with these high quality and high budget gachas, and for the first time in a while, the quality of these games have drastically improved over the years. Although the
Ooh. Yeah, high quality game that improved, and then you pull up Nikkei. Not the Battle Android Gunner one, but the one that looked like it had a Dark Souls style storyline, because apparently it did, based around fashion and dresses and exploration, that decided, hey, we hate our audience. Let's cut out all of the good animation, make it the most generic Genshin level. We're not actually having the A-team write it storyline. Yeah, because they took out the good stuff that they already paid and people already saw, and then made the gacha way more predatory. Oh, it's like speed running how to bankrupt a company. Except they probably made money because their hardcore players will ignore all that and just give them more.
The gacha part hasn't improved that much and is still predatory. It's still enough.
See, he's saying it hasn't improved and it hasn't predatory. What he's talking about now is worse than he's saying. It went from bad to new mortgage. I'm not entirely sure that's a joke either. It might literally be a new mortgage payment.
Climb. Now we've covered the history of what makes gacha games. We've seen the rise of companies.
Oh shit, that's all the animations they had to do just for Barbara? Because they had I can't speak today. They have individual sections just for the bows jiggle. The bows though, and only the bows.
We've seen how they've handled their games, and how some of them are literally just the personification of greed.
Yeah.
How some developers were passionate about their games, and how due to their passion, they became the huge corporations that they are today.
I'm actually surprised they haven't brought a Limbus company yet, although we're timeline-wise still a few years early on that one.
But this doesn't really paint the full picture as to why many people hate or love gacha games. So this time,
They love it because sometimes it's good animations with good gameplay. They hate it because usually to get that, you need a mortgage payment. Yeah.
I'll be talking about what a gacha game is composed of, what makes a gacha game
Oh, speaking of
great,
Limbus.
what makes it equivalent
Sakura?
to
Oh, yeah,
dog
Ozerling.
water slop, and why you should give gacha
Ironblood?
games a try.
Moving right into Arknights even. Oh. Big 6-star drop on that one. 2 of them even. Ooh. The rolls and the pulls. And we're getting to the actual gacha aspect. Yeah, that makes sense.
Why do a lot of people hate gacha games? The answer is simple,
Money.
really. The gacha
Predatory.
system, or more specifically, microtransactions in games. Most of the time, people generally have an outrage of games that they
Oh, I forgot Dragon's Dogma 2 is a giant ripoff. And apparently it was just badly done. Like, you could have a 4090 or a 5090 and it would actually have trouble with how badly it was running.
already paid for, only to find out that there's an in-game store
Maybe
that
it's
sells
fixed.
cosmetics, accessories, and items that can help with alleviating a certain amount of difficulty. Usually in single-player games, the player outrage generally scales with its difficulty, but it's a different thing for multiplayer ones since it's usually a clash of interests for people with disposable income and
If it was only for people with disposable income, it would be so much easier. The problem is all the people who don't have disposable income and then dispose of said non-disposable income. Yeah, if it's not going to hurt you, cool. If it's going to hurt you, why? Honestly, though, it's one of the reasons I will give Genshin Impact some credit. You don't need the higher-end characters to play the game. Mostly because the game is not too hard, unless you're me and you can't roll stats to actually do anything, and it's actually still hard because even with the highest characters in the game, that when you were meta for like that 1 week, you still couldn't do anything because unless you get the right stats, you can't actually beat anything. I'm not salty about that at all. Yeah. Moving on.
those without. Now, most, if not all, gacha games tend to be free to play,
Epic
with
7?
most of them
Oh, I haven't saw
having
that in a
easier
while.
game progression
Genshin?
tied behind the gacha system that hosts the characters and or equip.
I just saw the mouse on screen. It's like, oh, why is my mouse on screen? I realized it was his when I tried to move around.
Most
Wolf's
single-player
Gravestone, yeah.
or PvE gacha games tend to have a weird ratio of varying complaints due to the fact
I really enjoyed it in Limbus Company due to the absurdly generous spark system. Yes. Yeah, that, like, unironically, Limbus is awesome. I put money into the game because I wanted things, not because I needed to pay the money for it. And then I got even more things than I paid for because of the free aspect. It's actually super generous.
that not all gacha games are difficult, but several games do make the decision of making challenging content extremely difficult or borderline impossible, and then making sure that the featured character
Oh, they started doing that in Hoyo games? Oh. Well, that gets rid of everything I said. I heard there was change to the games and they were starting to make it that way, but I guess that's a fact now that if you don't have the highest characters, even the old guys can't do it. That kind of sucks.
that was released during that content would alleviate those issues or make it easy to clear. Now, complaints for this issue
Oh,
are a lot,
nostalgia
but
critic, wasn't
most
expecting
people
that.
just shrug it off because it usually just boils down to being salty about the gacha.
Okay, 1, great place to pause. 2, I'm not sure why he's probably using Limbus early on, because right now the gacha system is, okay, 1, 0 paid. Free is, oh dear God. To give you an idea, 1,600 is a pull. This is a lot. I've got most characters with 50 pulls. That's the equivalent of just grinding the free events in-game for a week or 2. And then the free aspect is on top of that. That is a lot. And it's all free, so this is no payment whatsoever.
About the gacha, paired with the fact that challenging content in these gachas tend to be optional. So it's never really a loss for you whether you clear or don't. And when you do clear, it's mostly for bragging rights.
Yeah, I can't actually clear that middle one. because I just suck at the game. No idea what game this is, though.
On the other hand, multiplayer or PvP gacha games tend to receive a lot of hate, mostly due to how power creep works and how that worsens player experience.
Also because it intentionally makes you pay to compete with other people who pay to compete with those people who pay to compete with people competing against them, so that you could end up maxing out everything and then you can't actually win or lose because you've gone bankrupt and you don't have internet anymore. Yeah. PvE, I give a lot of credit to. PvP is just by default predatory because the damage ceiling is other people's wallets.
It's never an even playing field because the only way to turn this into an equal match is by getting lucky in the gacha. It's why gachas with PvP tend to perform worse than the
I remember this game. It looked really cool at first, and then I realized, oh, it's just kind of bad, and I stopped playing. But it had Nier Automata, so I was kind of into it just because of that. And Raquel, you mentioned you can get through the story just fine with any character. I'm assuming you mean Genshin. It's in the end game in HSR that's disgustingly predatory. If you don't roll this character, die. Yeah. Oh, so you did mean HSR instead of Genshin. Okay. Yeah, I've heard a lot about that. And honestly, I kind of just stopped because, one, I never did the end game. I ignored it completely. I occasionally did it, and oddly enough, I got lucky in HSR rolls. Don't know why. Never any other games I've got lucky, including the games I like to play more. But I didn't realize it was that bad. Oof.
single player ones, not to mention the toxicity that comes along with it. That being said, let's talk about power creep. For those of you who aren't aware,
what game
power
is
creep
that?
is essentially the inevitable drawback that comes from live service games where newly added units and or equipment would make the older ones redundant or borderline unusable. For gacha games, this is a staple as most of them tend to have new units added to their pool every 2 weeks or so. No gacha game is
2 weeks? I thought a month was fast. Holy shit, man.
Is free of this issue, and most try to alleviate that pressure by upgrading or reworking older units or equipment, either through direct patch upgrades or a new ranking or rarity tier. But hey, no matter what they do, there will always be that one guy on Reddit who would complain about it all day. Power creep.
I mean, I'm not on Reddit because I don't hate myself that much, but I'm gladly here to complain all day. It's fun.
Is a problem, but it doesn't help that gacha games will try to cash in on limited event collectibles, and that invokes a primal fear within you.
I actually know exactly which Genshin event that is, and I actually did fall for the god. Not that actually didn't spend. I can't speak today. Didn't spend anything in that event, but so many of those events, not this one, but the previous. Here's the springtime cleaning stuff. Play it or you don't get these limited time events. Oh god, I rushed them in like 3 days because I thought, oh no, if I miss this, I'll never get it. And it's like, wait, no, I don't care. But only after I did all of it. And yeah, the FOMO hit me.
You feel when there is a time limit. An opportunity that has come your way is slowly fading as that clock ticks. That wallet of yours will be left empty by the end of this. That anxiety creeps up on you, telling you that you want this, you need this. It takes a hold of you.
I didn't think
and
that
that
was Nathan
temptation only
Fielder for a
grows
second.
worse as time goes on. And when the final hour comes, you break. Fear of missing out is a terrible cycle that most gacha games have weaponized.
I'm going to say something that probably will piss off a lot of people. As predatory as gacha games are, they are not the masters of FOMO. If you want to look at the masters, that would actually be NVIDIA. The company making admittedly very good graphics cards when they don't literally catch on fire. You might be thinking, if you're not into PCs, that that's a joke. They wouldn't actually send you something that could literally kill you by lighting your house on fire. That would be a nice thing to change. But if you look up 5090 cable fire, you are going to find a lot of issues. But the reason they sell this is because it's the best thing ever, and you're not going to get it because they're going to sell out. So they make a huge product that's great, and then they hype it up, and then they only give you a small bit of time to get it because you're never going to get another chance. And they just do FOMO so damn hard. And also because they get rid of their backlog of other things that are good and not going to light on fire. So, well, we don't have this anymore. The only thing you get is this, and it's only going to here for a few days because it's going to sell out immediately. The FOMO is so strong. The company is literally the most expensive in the world right now. Also because AI and companies and countries, entire countries are buying up their stock, which then feeds into the FOMO of, hey, you're competing against other countries. If you don't get this deal right now, you're never going to compete against the United Arab Emirates' order of all of what we have for the next year. Everything I just said is unfortunately accurate, and I might be downplaying it. Also Games Workshop as well, but it's still just something you can walk away from at that point.
It is a tactic that most of these companies utilize in order to better maximize their profits.
Also, I should probably point out, even though I'm shitting on NVIDIA, I got a 4090 in my graphics card from NVIDIA. Their products are actually good when they work. They're just assholes about getting it. And they're not the worst. ASUS customer service would be there, but that's completely different.
Everyone hates FOMO. I hate FOMO. You hate FOMO. All my homies hate FOMO.
But they give into it because it works.
To think that some items or units will be unobtainable after
every MiHoYo game ever. Accurate. Kind of like how Wuwa still has some characters from the beginning of the game that are actually usable now. Gion.
Their banners pass. And it doesn't help the fact that most of these limited stuff are generally pretty overpowered. I can understand if it's just cosmetics, but if it's units or equipment, that is a whole nother story. It's just scummy, it's so repulsive, it's just pure bullshit.
The one exception is, okay, this guy's not a good one because he was the first banner character, and he actually was really good, and he's come back multiple times. I don't know, I never got him. Oh yeah, because I was saving up for Katethia. That I got her because I saved up that long, so I think it was a worthwhile choice.
Most gacha game companies out there tend to have reruns of these particular events, not making them completely unobtainable. But it still doesn't help the fact that these limited banners act like a carrot on a stick for most players, making sure to milk out your wallets dry. It's really terrible. But again, these complaints are mostly from low spenders and free-to-play players who want to be rewarded for their effort. Gacha...
I mean, he brought up Wuwa over here. Or was it? Whatever. Was it this one? Yeah, I think it was. And they're actually not that bad because they have limited banners, but you could actually get most of the characters free if you just manage your pity and you play all of the events. That also means, though, you have to play all of the events. Which, for a lot of games, would be, okay, if you have this limited amount of time, you can only get a little bit right here. For them, it's like, okay, yeah, when the event ends, we just put it on the side tab. It's not immediately pressed to you, but you can still collect the rewards from it. Which is actually a very nice change of pace. They give more if you do it during the usually 2-month window where it's open for free. And you get extra stuff, but then when that's gone, you also get the other stuff, which is kind of the bulk of it. Every now and again, when there's a character I want, I just go do the old events because I usually don't play the game for a couple of months, come back, have nothing, spend like a day where I have a day off, usually because I get sick, and just grind it out, come back, have enough for maybe like 20 to 30 pulls, do it again maybe a couple weeks later for the same reason. And you can get a good balance here as long as you're not trying to get multiple copies. That, unfortunately, is where this game isn't the most predatory, but a lot of games get into when you get copies of characters. I hate the copy system so much, which is also why I like limits, but we'll probably get to that later.
From low spenders and free-to-play players who want to be rewarded for their effort. Gacha games tend to be catered to casual players who have a lot of disposable income, since they're usually the ones making sure the company gains profits.
Huh. Talking about greed and showing a picture of Ed McMahon. Have you ever seen the most perfect visual representation? Well, you all have, because it's right here.
Funny thing is, the companies are aware of this and try to cater their gacha games to casual players more often. And this becomes a glaring issue. Casual difficulty is a problem for a lot of these games because of one variable. Casual players get bored easily.
Yeah. And again, Nikke. Beautiful game, beautiful storyline, nice characters. Great voice acting. The gameplay itself is you put it on auto and you walk away because it's an idle battler.
I know that not many people have a lot of time on their hands to play these gacha games, and I can understand that, but casual difficulty can be a detriment for the long term due to the fact that casual players tend to just drop a game if it gets boring. Casual players also complain if a game...
Limbus Company casual. I mean, if you get Dawn early on, yeah. But I've played the new event with the whole Purgus Night, and that thing is hard as hell, man. I only beat it because Dawn is so overpowered that she could actually cheese the entire thing. I know there's other characters that are brand new that you can get really easily who could do it, but I haven't built them, and yeah. Oh, this is not a game for casuals, man. Oh no.
Game gets too difficult, which in turn causes a whole new set of issues by making these games extremely repetitive and easy. So it's usually a matter of knowing where that sweet
Azure Lane
spot
just bored me
is.
so much.
Surprisingly enough, it's usually the hardcore players who keep these games alive by simply talking about content and enjoying the difficulty. So here's the difference between a good gacha game and a terrible one.
Okay. Full acknowledgement. Dawn is best character, man. I don't even care what the context is. This is just awesome. I'm glad they found this art.
You will know if a gacha game is good or not by no.
Oh, Love and Deep Space, 50 million users. This game isn't good gacha. This game is female gooner bait. I have heard of what some of the events are, and I'll be completely honest, man. This game is more degenerate than Nikkei. Take your pick which one. Oh my god, this game should have an M rating. It is somehow safe for work without being safe for work at all. Oh god. I'm gonna be honest, man. If a female audience was not how to put it. If this level of degeneracy was in a male game, like, you know, Nikkei is very much the male gaze. This game is so much more intense. Yeah. The only games that are close to this are flat out hentai at this point.
Knowing what their communities are currently talking about. If a community consists...
And yeah, this is less degenerate than the previous one. Yeah.
Mostly of posts and discussions regarding gacha banners, gacha pulls, and salty gacha pulls, with barely any discussions about the gameplay, then you'll know it's a terrible gacha game. Why do I say this, you might ask? Well, it's simple, really. While
if the only thing you have going is the gambling, you have nothing, because there's nothing worth playing for. Again, that's why I like Limbus. The story's good.
the gacha is a main aspect and or selling point of a gacha game, it is by definition still a game. Gameplay is an irreplaceable core function of what keeps players engaged. Player retention is as valuable, if
The fuck happened over here? Like Limbus Company, I get it. Oh, it's their personal playtime? That is... No, it's peak, so it's everyone's playtime. What the hell happened? Probably server issues for it to be that drastic and that repetitive.
not more than gacha revenue. If players stop talking about the game's gameplay, then it's shit. There's no two ways about it. So, if a gacha game has a good ratio of gacha and gameplay discussions, then you'll know that this gacha game is really, really good. While that ratio may fluctuate due to limited banners and
Interesting art.
new content drops, it's still a good...
1 second. My wife was showing off some of her resin artwork. She just got a massive order, and she's literally cramming every second she can to print out, or not print, to use epoxy resin to make all of them. It's kind of crazy how fast she's working through it, man.
idea to keep a close eye into their communities to better assess
Wait, Valeria mentioned one of the updates was like a few tens of gigabytes. Which game are you talking about? Oh, Azure Lane had a tens of gigabyte update. How? It's probably voice acting and custom animations. They're just not coded for space. But dear God, man.
which gacha games are good for you. Now, you might be thinking, some people complain about the day-to-day gameplay though, and you're not wrong. Most
Limbus Company. If you pay for a daily, it'll keep it for a month. I know this because I forgot to play for a week and it was all still there. Okay, that's a lie. It was only 2 days, but I'm going to count it.
gacha
Fun
games
game.
have a system that keeps players engaged.
Yeah, the dailies. if they're kind of fun, I'm okay with it. If it's like, oh, this is a cool little thing to do to get to see a little part of the map I haven't done. If it's the same damn 3 items, so I'm looking at you, Genshin, every single time, no. I think WoW actually has story-based dailies that don't progress until you do them, and I need to do them because they're actually kind of fun just to have a little backstory of something low-key that's actually a story that I never do because I always forget about it because it's still waiting for me there, but it'll be there when I'm done.
Or at least it tries to. Dailies and weeklies are extremely boring and repetitive. Some games like Zenless Zone Zero try to make these dailies as short as possible.
Still annoyed me so much. Like this is probably one of the worst dailies. In a daily where you're doing exploration, I prefer more because that's because I like exploration. It's why I could deal with Genshin. When I finally go back maybe next year to play again, I'll just explore the map. I'm not even sure I'll play the story. I just want to explore the map and have fun doing little adventure and puzzles. And then I'll be done and I'll move off and I'll wait a few more years and see what happens. Zenless, a lot of things they did were actually really good. The dailers were a bitch. I mean, at least with the running the store when that felt thematic, so I can give them credit, but the rest was boring.
Well, other games like Arknights tend to have an auto-battling system so that players just need a push of a button to do their dailies.
I kind of like the auto battle because, you know, if you set your team up well and it wasn't a super high level enemy, it's like, okay, did I understand how to play the game basically? Nice. Still got annoying after time though.
Try as they might, they can never perfect this system, and players tend to get burnt out after a couple of months of doing the same things over and over again.
Yes.
The grind sucks, and it's time-consuming, with only the dedicated ones doing it just for the sake of getting more pulls. Eventually, players quit after a while, but there are some who want to quit but can't. Why? Well,
Free to play, man. It's the best way to do it. Hurricane, you hate Genshin's dailies more? I stopped doing them, so I didn't ever really build up the hatred for them. But that's also because I had disposable income when I was trying to play it, and it was a lot easier considering Genshin payments versus Grand Order payments were so much lower. I was saving so much more money. It was a nice change. But if you kept doing the same 3 quests over and over again, that would drive me crazy, man. Sunk cost fallacy? Oh. And of course, they're putting up one of the background sins from Limbus Company for that. Yeah. Whew. This is where I'm going to cut this one here because the next part's going to be super depressing. I don't think I can handle it so far into this. Basically what I'm saying though is this is still a really good video, and CipherRei did a great job breaking down all these, and this is good. Some of the picks he's choosing in the background to represent things, I think timing-wise, if he had done this video maybe a week or 3 later, he would have very much changed it. The Nikkei in the good category, unless there's a section later on, which is entirely possible because how big this video is, that will be commented on. That is the big one, though. And most of everything, I kind of agree with what he's saying. There's a few things that are like, oh, I remember this, and there's others like, oh, I remember this. Yeah, because I got into Gacha with Fate, and yeah, I don't play that anymore for that reason. Good story, though. I'll still look up the story, but I just, you can't play that game, man. Ugh. This is good, though. CipherRei did an amazing job, and if you guys haven't already, there's a link below to his video. Hit it up, subscribe to this guy. They're at 6,000. Oh, they made up 6,000 subscribers right now. They need more because they're just good. Do that. I'll see you guys in the next one. Adios.